There have been a lot of really good signs lately in the music world. I'm gonna readjust this lighting real quick. There have been a lot of really good sightings in the music world lately. As of mostly this past month, there have been a lot of artists whom have just finally been dropping. It's been a pretty crazy May and June so far, with every week. In the past, really for the past few weeks, there has yet to be a week that didn't have an album I was really interested or excited for. On the 14th, or actually on the 7th, we had Super What, the Czarface MF Doom. Then we had the next week we had the off season. The next week we had Scaled and Icy, Pray for Haiti, Trust the Sopranos, and Sour. The next week we had Exodus. The next week we had The Voice for the Heroes. And the next week, and this week, we have Culture 3, Hall of Fame, Jordy, and finally Life of Pierre 5. Four really interesting albums. Next week, there's nothing confirmed yet, but I have a very good feeling that we'll be hearing The House is Burning or Sin City. Hopeful for either one of those. Also, Lord comes back next weekend. So yeah, music seems like it's getting back on the roll as the vaccine's rolling out, COVID's kind of coming to a close. Finally, we're hearing music again, and one of those indications that music is returning is that Culture 3 has finally come out. This is a trap album that obviously I've been very excited for a while, as someone who really thinks Migos are truly one of the most influential and special acts of the trap world. They're all three they're very enjoyable in their art, but on top of that, together they just have such fun chemistry. They have great flows. They obviously get fantastic producers because they're Migos. Everybody knows Migos. They're not only just like respected like rappers, even more like respected artists. Like people love these guys, and I do too. I really enjoy. Like comparatively of the albums I know from them, I will say that I love the first Culture. Top 5 trap album ever for me. I think that is a fantastic project. It was so consistent, well put together. The delivery and the chemistry is all fantastic. Culture 2 was a lot worse for me, honestly. Culture 2 for me did have its fun moments to it, but about half of it was enjoyable and the other half just felt totally rampant, useless. It was 24 tracks, an hour and 45 minutes. Really could have been closer to an hour. And as a whole, the whole album really kind of fell apart for that one reason. Because there were about 15 to I'm going to take off my glasses. There were like 15 tracks on that one that I actually really enjoyed. So I could have made a full-length album. But they said I had 9 more tracks and they all were pretty mid. But then now Culture 3 has been announced. I was hopeful for this album. I was really just hoping Migos would come through with something really enjoyable, something with great flows, chemistry. Just get what Migos is good at and what they know they're good at, because they're always very fun to listen to. So I was really hopeful for Culture 3 that it would be comparatively as good as the first one and a lot better than the second one. Then we heard the track. Okay, first of all, I'm going to say this. The cover of this, I'm not crazy about. I like it, but I feel like it's a little bland to me, even in the fact that it has just kind of imagery. It's just like the first 2 Cultures have great covers and this one's just kind of okay. So it wasn't the best cover. But other than that, I was excited to hear this album. Once I heard it was 19 tracks, I got a little more nervous until I realized that The Voice of the Heroes was 18 tracks and it was still enjoyable. So I was like, okay, and I would say Migos is more enjoyable than Lil Durk and Lil Baby. So theoretically, this should be good, right? As long as they do well on it and they do what they do well. And even if they did Culture 2 well, like if they did that sound well, then it would be enjoyable. Though I heard it was 75 minutes. Right before it came out, I heard that, and I got a little more nervous. But I still went in hopeful because I really want to see these guys succeed. They're truly great artists, and I was really hoping to see a great project here. We had 2 singles, I think. I only heard one. I didn't hear Need It, the one with Young Boy before, but I heard Straightenin. Avalanche is his very first track. I really enjoy this. The beat is really great. All the members do really well. One thing people have been pointing out, I totally agree with, is that Takeoff is easily the best member on this album. He totally just murders all of his verses, puts just the great work in. Personally, I think Takeoff, he honestly might be like, okay, Offset is great too, but I think Takeoff has some of my favorite verses under like the Migos. In that mostly goes within the group. Offset though, is just a great hook writer, and he's obviously has some of my favorite verses too. I'd also say that Offset kind of has the credibility of being on Without Warning, which is just a great trap, one of my favorite trap albums, honestly, ever. So, would be the second best album under all of Migos' discography, right after the first Culture. But I think Takeoff does very well on this album. I think he had great verses on it. Avalanche is a very fun opening. I love the way the beat transitions and works. I feel like the beat could have been a little stronger, but I still really like it. It's a great opening. I really enjoyed House Offer. Having Our Way, I don't know if I'm the only one who noticed this. It's an enjoyable track, but I think the main takeaway I honestly got from this track is that it's really a Drake track. It's most of the track is Drake. The first half of it is literally a Drake hook and verse, and then the Migos come in, and then there's another Drake hook, and it's very apparent that, okay, this, if anything, is just a Drake... Hold on, I need to pull that up. This, if anything, is just a Drake track. I am very confident that this was a track made for Certified Lover Boy, and it's been placed on this record instead. That seems likely considering how much of it is a Drake track. As a whole, I really enjoy it, but that's the main takeaway I got from it. It wasn't mind-blowing to me enough for me to really take anything else from it. Straightenin is a very fun track. I thought this was a really solid single, and I think it has one of my favorite beats from the album. The Castro beat is fantastic, and on top of that, the flows are really great. It has a really nice hook. It's really great Migos music, because Migos, there's a very specific sound they have, and it really works. And if they clearly know how to do the sound still, and it's really enjoyable. Type Shit is a fun song right up until Cardi B comes in, and she totally derails the track for me. She doesn't make it a bad track. It's still fun, but truly, I will if I come back to this specific track, I will definitely skip Cardi B's verse. It is not interesting at all. I personally, every time I hear her, I like her less. Also, there's the one bar that literally everybody on hip-hop Twitter is talking about it. It's the bar that's, my jeweler think I'm gay cause I buy shit. Or how does he say it? It's like, why, what is the bar? That doesn't sound right. There's a bar in it where he makes a joke about his jeweler thinking he's gay because he buys a lot of things, and the pun is that buys, because it's terrible. I think Cardi B says it, but some people are saying Offset says it. I don't remember hearing it, so I don't know who says it, but it's pretty bad. That's one of my most interesting things about this is honestly just that terrible bar. Malibu is probably the weakest track for me, and I think I almost want to but it's going to be more explained, though, in my next review. Because this track features Polo G, who is fucking boring as hell on this track. Don't worry, he got to release a whole 20-track album last night, so I'll get way more into Polo G in the next video. As a whole, this is probably my least favorite track. I didn't find it very interesting. Birthday's a solid track. I've seen a lot of people saying this is the worst. I probably enjoyed it. I thought the beat was really nice. The verses were all really solid. And I am going to say this just real quick. People keep saying that there was not a single bad feature on this album. That is a lie, because both Cardi B and Polo G did not do well. But Birthday is a fun track. I like what it has to offer. It feels a little lighthearted. I like what it is. Modern Day is actually great. This is a really solid track. This is probably a highlight for me. The delivery is really fantastic. It's just the beat is really what gets me. Just as a solid beat, just solid sound to it. One of the things you have to take away from an album like Culture 3 is the fact that this is probably one of the most anticipated trap albums of the past 2 years. It's Migos, it's Culture, everybody knows it. But so obviously speaking, this has some of the best production out there. The production sounds great across all this album. And it's truly, this track just had great production on it. Vaccine, I remember getting talked about a lot prior to the album, because just the title Vaccine, people were worried if it was going to be a track where they're anti-vax. I knew going in, I was like, there's no way that they have an anti-vax track on this, because when have Migos ever done anything like politics or any world issue? They'll never do that. That's not what Migos is for. They're for fun party music. So obviously Vaccine's not going to be about that. And also some people were like, what, is it going to be pushing vaccines? No, because that's another, they're not going to be giving a deliberate message. There are tracks where they get emotional, sure, but they're not going to talk about vaccines need to be pushed or the vaccine's dangerous. It's just called Vaccine because they have puns about quarantine in it. I don't even really get the vaccine pun. I still didn't really get that. I enjoyed it, though. It had a nice kind of fun beat to it. It's probably one of the most lighthearted tracks. I like what it was. But the big takeaway from this was how worried everybody was going in and how I was sitting there there's no way this is an anti-vax track. Picasso is a fun track. It has Future on it. Future does great. He's Future. He usually does pretty great. I haven't been a huge fan of Future's feature run, though, this year so far, it's there's not been a ton of them, surprisingly. Usually he's on like so many features in one year, and this year he's been kind of not doing a ton, and a lot of them are just not. I just don't feel like are his best. If we're gonna count like Whole Lotta Red, which came out like literally days before 2021, I thought his Teen X feature was pretty bad, and I thought it really made for the worst track on the Whole Lotta Red album. So on top of that, he also made easily the worst track on Slam Language 2, Superstar, which was disgusting. It was terrible. Overall, there's just not been a ton, and this feature is fun, but it just doesn't hit me. And also on top of that, he had the Baby X Baby Pluto, which was incredibly boring. Makes me a little nervous to know what Future is coming with, because I love the guy. I always want to see Future win. He's my favorite trap artist. But it makes me very worried to see what he'll be coming with next. I'm excited though, because I know his next couple projects are like Hendrix 2 and Monster 2, which are exciting to hear about. But this feature was just kind of okay to me. They all do the thing. It's fun. It's not really a highlight for me. Roadrunner is really great, though. This is a great banger for me. It has a very, very fun, fast pace to it. All the Migos match perfectly with this pace. This is the thing you have to realize, is that a lot of trap artists are terrible at fast pace because they're just not good at flowing like that. They do great with this, though. There's a very fast, consistent pace, and they fit very nicely over it. Migos probably have, like... Okay, I might even have to say it's, like, my favorite flow in trap, because they all ride across beats so fucking well. And there's very little tracks where it feels like they're being lazy. There's always just a fun flow to these tracks. And on top of it, it's all from all three of them. Even though I like give Quavo crap a lot, I think he's really enjoyable on this album. What You See is a great track. Mostly I like the guitar beat. I'll rant about guitar beats a lot in my next video. I'm gonna keep teasing the Hall of Fame review, because I think I'm gonna snap in that review, honestly. But my main highlight from this is I really like the Justin Bieber hook. I think Justin Bieber's been on quite a roll lately. I thought Changes was awful. You guys can go watch my Justice if you want to hear more on it. But I think he's been on a roll lately. Peaches has been my #1 song for like the past month. I love that song. Probably top 3 song of the year, honestly. It's great. And he's just had so many great features, and I'm excited to see him doing things like this. He had a really solid hook on this. It all sounds very nice. It's a really solid track. Probably a highlight for me. Jane is definitely a highlight, though. I love this track. I think the guitar trumpet beat sounds so good. The Migos flow so well over it. The trap fits so nicely over it. It's so well produced. It is so enjoyable. Great track. And that's the thing. Like, kind of here from like track 10 to like track 13, it gets really good. That's like the best part of this album. And then right until the end, it's the worst part of this album. Then we have Antisocial, which is a great track. I think they used a Juice WRLD posthumous feature very nicely. Juice WRLD has a great hook. This is not the only time Juice WRLD was featured on an album this weekend. He sounded really nice for this. It had a very nice violin beat. It felt really personal, though. I actually realized Migos got really personal on this track. It feels very nice. It's personal, but it's not like... It doesn't feel forced, because the Migos never try and force emotions. I'll get more into my next video about forcing emotions. They don't do that, though, in this album. They do very nicely on this track. I really liked it. Why Not is fun. It could have been cut for me, but I like what it is. I would say this thing about Mahomes. I think Mahomes, or whatever, however I'm supposed to pronounce that, definitely did not need to be 5 minutes. It's way too long. It kind of drags out, but it's still fun. I would say the same thing about Handle My Business. It's fun. It's a solid track. I would say Time For Me is solid. I really like this beat. I think it's one of my favorites from the album. Light It Up. Okay, when I said it gets worse till the end, I forgot about Light It Up, because this is one of the best on this album. I was surprised at how fucking well the Migos do with a Pop Smoke track. It sounds great, and I'm surprised by that. Like, Pop Smoke comes with this very raw, and you know what really makes me sad is the more I hear Pop Smoke being featured, and the more I've been hearing him lately, I like him more. Like, I like him more now than I did last year, and it makes me very hopeful that the next posthumous album, which I think comes in July, will be solid, and hopefully as good as Shoot for the Stars, because I love Shoot for the Stars. So I really am hopeful that we'll get more good posthumous music from Pop Smoke. If it's kind of weak, then... If it's more of like the guitar tracks, I like the What You Know About Love, Mood Swings tracks, I don't know if I'll really need it. But if it's just fun, I'll like it, you know? But I think the Migos fit so well over that very dark, drill sound that Pop Smoke rivals in. It sounds great. Rest in peace to Pop Smoke, really great rapper. Then we end that album off with Need It, which was the single released last year for this album, which is a fun track. It has a lot of energy to it, and Youngboy's really fun on it. I think I have a video coming on Youngboy soon. I have an idea for a video. It is a horrible idea. You will hate me for it, and I'm gonna do it because that's a horrible idea. The Need It has a really solid, fun flow to it. It sounds nice. I really enjoy this as an outro track. As a whole, even though Culture 3 definitely doesn't need to be this long, definitely feels like it drags on at some points and feels a little bloated, I enjoy this a lot. I actually had quite a lot of fun with this one. I feel like this was, even as a rap, like it's not just an improvement over Culture 2 because it's shorter. I feel like in terms of a like conceptual production sound and flow sound, they got better on this one. I really like it. I think this really kind of restores my confidence in the Migos. I just called them the Migos. This isn't Culture. It's not that good, but it's really fun. It has very nice flows to it. It has really great bangers on this. As a whole, I feel like even though it is a little too long, I feel like it does what it needs to do and doesn't really try anything. It doesn't, the Migos aren't like, okay, this time we're going to get real deep. We're going to get real emotional. It feels like they really try and they really don't do anything they're incapable of beyond making an album too long. I would have preferred if like everything from Why Home or Why Not through Handle My Business, those 3 tracks could have been cut. Bring it down to 16 tracks. Maybe more close to an hour. I feel like that would have gotten a better reception from fans. But as a whole, I enjoy what it is. Culture 3 is a pretty enjoyable album, and it for what Migos is, I enjoyed what it was. I'm giving this one a B+. You probably could have predicted that. It's flawed, but it's fun, and Migos definitely have something coming for them. I'm not going to give tons of updates of what I'm going to do next, because first of all, I hope Culture 4 comes. I really hope Culture 4 is only an hour. If it at all comes. I just want to hear new music, Migos music. You know, I want to hear more from them. Even though I know they prove their stuff, I'm really excited for what they're coming with. I'm not gonna give a ton of updates on what's next reviews are coming because I have 3 more videos to do this weekend. So I probably won't give those updates until my final review, which will be the Life of PR5 review. So the next 2 reviews, I probably won't enter any updates, but you'll see updates then. See you guys next time. I do want to point out the Undone vinyl. I don't know if I don't think I had in the last video. I got Undone by The Roots. I also got this, which I'm going to be implanting in my video soon, a new microphone, and it looks awesome. It has like the arm and everything. I love it. This was 30 bucks, by the way, and it sounds like podcast quality. So you can, I got it on sale and I was on Prime, but please look for that if you really want a good microphone, because it exists. See you guys next time. Peace out. And next we got Polo G. Bye.